Text-to-image generation allows us to quickly produce images with natural language, but the textual prompting might not be enough to express all visual ideas. What if we can use text-to-image generation like there are paint mediums? We introduce PromptPaint, which allows users to interact with the prompts like how we deal with colors. PromptPaint renders each prompt that the user defined as a color in the prompt palette interface. In this case, you can see that the user is creating two prompts, futuristic cyberpunk tower and gothic tower. With these colors or prompts, users can do prompt mixing, flexibly mixing them with each other and exploring intermediate spaces between these prompts. With the mixed prompts, similar to how we pick a specific color from a mix of colors and put them onto the canvas, the user can choose a specific mix of the prompts and brush an area to render an image about the mixed prompts. With this prompt stencil, the image will only be rendered for the specified part. The tool also shows the intermediate generation results, which can be useful for functions that will be explained later. You can see the rendered image has both attributes of cyberpunk style and gothic style. PromptPaint also allows the users to roll back the generation and edit it to a small extent. Let's say the user wants to render the image to be a bit more complex in its rendition. They can define the directional prompt to add the attribute of complexity, similar to how we change the color by adding more or less of other colors. In this case, the user is adding the prompt with two ends of the simple to complex to add more of the attribute of the complexity. With the added attribute, if the user rerun the generation, it will result in the image with a more visually complex rendition. PromptPaint also allows users to overlay different prompts in a single area of generation, similar to how we overlay colors on the canvas with paint mediums. This is doable with prompt intervention, and the user can simply change the used prompt during the generation process. Here, the user decides to reuse the mixed prompt of Cyberpunk Tower, Gothic Tower, and Complex for the initial half of the generation, and the user can use the intermediate results to estimate how the form would look like from the use of these prompts. But for the later half, the user wants to use the prompt of the old tree surface. Prompt intervention leads into interesting effects, where those prompts that are used in the earlier stage decide the overall form of the visual rendition, while those used in the later stage more decide the details. You can see the rendered image has more of the tree texture while maintaining the form of the tower. The user can repeat prompt mixing, directional prompt, prompt intervention, and prompt stencil interactions to gradually build their own canvas. Conceptually, PromptPaint is designed to allow users to flexibly explore generation semantics beyond what they can express with natural language by mixing interaction, which is inspired by how we mix colors. PromptPaint also modularizes generation by allowing during generation interactions and combining multiple or partial generations, which would be similar to how we gradually apply colors on the canvas, overlaying them and painting them on different parts of the canvas. Our characterization study shows different effects of different functions. Approaches to mix prompts on the palette were more effective in adding the new attribute. On the other hand, those approaches that applied different prompts during the different part of the generation were more effective in maintaining the original image's attribute in editing context. Our user study shows that the users can effectively use the tool to steer image generation, but we also identified interesting trade-offs in designs. One was trade-offs between allowing users to iterate on a single canvas to facilitate small edits, which is how PromptPaint is designed, and showing many options in a single round of generation to counter unpredictability of generated models, which is widely adopted in existing text-to-image generation applications, such as Midjourney. Learning from this, future tools would be able to adopt both of the design approaches in a single tool to take advantage of the both. In summary, with PromptPaint, we explored interaction approaches to allow users to explore generation spaces beyond what they can achieve with natural language prompts by taking inspiration from paint medium-like interactions.